Hi, I'm Karen Chatterton.
I'm Galen Chatterton.
We do costuming, design, and construction for Sandy Arts Guild, and we love it. We're a great team. Sometimes when we do costuming, we have to get outside the realm of fabric, and so we get into something called EVA foam. This is an example of the different thicknesses and weights that we use. And sometimes we even use the kind that you use on floor mats. That's what Mr. Sven's body's made out of. Here are some examples of the way we use foam. This is Rafiki. This is the lighter weight foam that we folded. To make it fit on the person, we put a baseball cap in. That was Galen's idea. So it's worked out really, really well. This is a piece that's also foam, and it's made of about 100 pieces, all put together, all glued together, and then painted. And as you can see, we put fur on them also, but they have to have a substantial skeleton inside before we can put anything else on top of them. Okay, so how does Olaf become a character? It starts in the design process. First of all, we have a production meeting and we find out what the director's vision is. Then I take that and I do a lot of research. Go back to the director, is this what you want? If it is, then we go ahead and start making patterns. And it took a long time to make this guy's pattern. It was a very complicated process. This is half of his head. So you can see everywhere there's a dart, it means that we fold it and put it together. And how does it stay like that? We use a special glue called barge, and it's very toxic, so we have to use it in a highly ventilated room or outside. So this is what his nose looks like as a pattern. Then I cut it out of the foam, put the glue on it, wait for the contact to get sticky, and then fold it together with the little darts, and that makes it shape. Then I'll often use my fingers to stretch it, because this is a special kind of foam called L200. It will hold its shape. The other thing we use is a heat gun, and then it would go right on his little face like this. So after we get the basic one, you can see that there's going to be a lot of lines and ridges and everything. So we use something called Quick Set, and I put that on. It's like a paste, and then smooth it very, very smoothly, and then put a little water on it to finish the smoothing process. For this, we would put the apparatus in that moves his mouth, and then cover him with fur and put his eyes in. These are rods that are EVA foam, and I cut them and shape them and put them together to form his hands. The texturing's done with a hot glue gun, and then we paint him. These are styrofoam balls. So Olaf really doesn't weigh very much, which makes it possible for the actor to be able to move in it much better.
She gives me the task of designing a structure that will work with a child, with a structure that will allow him to move about and make it look like it's normal. I got a hold of some PVC tubing. I glued pieces together for the appropriate height, and then it comes down and it attaches to the back of Olaf back here, and it allows this piece to move with the other piece hanging below. We also had to come up with feet, and so I made some little sandals that will strap to the actor's feet and come out, allowing this to be slightly off of the floor and allowing him to be able to move and dance and do whatever he needs to do like that. So those are the basic components of Olaf's structure.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how long would that take to make? It took us 4 full, big, long days to make. The pattern took a couple of days to make because it had to be tweaked a lot to make sure that it was big enough and his cheeks were chubby enough and that his eyes were in the right place. So altogether, it took us a full 6 days to make him. First of all, I needed a model, so I bought one, and this is the actual model that I bought. He's adorable, but he's tiny. So from there, I had to take the proportionate measurements of where his front haunches were, his middle part, and his back haunches, and put them all together, made a little drawing, did some calculations so that I could enlarge him. So I drew a head, and then I had it enlarged. And then after it was enlarged, I cut it out of the foam, and then I heated it with the heat gun so that it would shape. I made a muzzle out of a different kind of foam so that it would be pliable and look more like a real animal. And then after he was all together, then I cut his mouth and moved it so that he can talk. And it has an apparatus on the inside that makes his little self move. His antlers are out of foam. Of course, he's got fur. He's got 3 different kinds of fur on. His eyeball was a styrofoam ball, and then I was able to get some beautiful glass eyes, and he has eyelashes. So he's really a very sophisticated little reindeer. How he works is that the actor gets inside of him. His shoulders rest inside here. He gets strapped in. He has back legs and he has front legs that the actor's legs and feet go into. And he has the ability to move his head a little bit so that he can talk and interact with his good buddy, Kristoff. Sven is a very sturdy looking animal, but in fact, the reason we make him out of foam is because he's very lightweight. So he doesn't put a lot of stress on the actor, and it makes it so that the actor can stay in the costume longer. It took a long time. This guy took me 9 days to make, because in between trying to figure out the right proportions and how to cut the foam and how to glue it together, this heavier EVA foam that I use, it has to cure at least 24 hours so that the seams won't come open when you apply something else like fur or another layer of skin on him. These were some of our very first projects for The Little Mermaid, and they were just really pretty simple compared to what we do now. It took us a long time to figure out how to make it work and how to cut it right. You can see he's got a lot of bumps, which my work wouldn't have now because I know how to work with foam much better. But when you're doing funny stuff like fish, you have to look for funny stuff to make it out of. He's basically foam. This was a cleaning cloth. Then I found a couple of Japanese lanterns. If you pull him, he becomes a pufferfish. If you decide that you want to try some, you can go some projects with foam. You can go to a place like Joanne or Michael and you can buy some EVA foam. There's a guy that if you're really interested in learning more about it, his name is Evil Ted Smith. Look him up on the internet. He'll teach you how to work with this stuff. That's how I first started learning 4 years ago.